Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to review black watercolor brush set from Escoda. This is a part of a 4-set series that Escoda produced this year, and if you know my style, if you followed me for a while, you know that my reviews are very thorough, and so I'm going to show you not just how these brushes perform in terms of the brush strokes and precision, water retention, but I will also show you some real painting examples. So if you like painting flowers or landscapes, or maybe you enjoy playing around with watercolor ink and do some decorative work, you can really make up your mind and see if this is a good choice for you. This video is a conclusion of 4-part series where I reviewed the 4 new brush sets from Escoda, each containing a wonderful selection of brushes carefully curated by Escoda masters, and each set contains different shapes, different sizes, so you can really decide which one is right for you. But if you like plein air and if you like traveling with your art supplies, I think you will find them super useful because they're super compact. As you can see, it can fit in my hand. So if you're ready, let's jump right into it. Okay, let's take a look inside the black set. The cool thing about these particular sets from Escoda is that they're designed to be taken on the road. So your brushes fit into this tiny case, which can easily fit into your pocket, and the brushes are constructed into parts, so you can put the brush end inside the handle and take it anywhere you go. There's a little pocket here in the back, so you can put it up like this, standing. Very cool. So if you like to take your supplies on vacation, or if you enjoy plein air, urban sketching, you will love these. They're really easy to pack. And right away you will see that the black set contains some really interesting brush shapes, including this pointed round, this bright flat, and a dagger, which you will love if you paint any kind of organic shapes or like expressive strokes. And each brush is made with synthetic hair, as I mentioned, but it's not your average cheap synthetic. These brushes are designed to closely mimic the properties of real sable and real squirrel. And if you've seen my previous reviews and head-to-head comparison of real and synthetic brushes from Escoda, it's pretty impressive. These brushes are built by hand, combining 3 different diameters and 3 different lengths, so you get a really nice tip and a very good water retention. And of course, if animal cruelty is not a big concern for you, the price difference between real and synthetic brushes obviously also makes it a very attractive option, so you get real value for your money. So our first brush is Escoda Versatile Pointed Round in size 16. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that I'm slightly obsessed with Versatile series because to me, this is as close as it gets to real sable in terms of performance. And I've used all sorts of different synthetics for a long time. This one is my #1 in terms of water retention and precision. The size 16 is perfect for larger washes, as you will see in a second, but it's also super pointed, so you can do all sorts of detailed work. We also have a flat perla in size 12. It's synthetic squirrel made with white Torre fiber. It's one of the softest flat brushes I've ever tried. And yes, it doesn't look white like in the box picture, but it's because I just used it with watercolor ink because I wanted to show you the brush in action. And I will wash it and condition it later this week. And finally, we have another perla, and this one is I'm super excited about because it's a dagger shape or a sword shape. And if you haven't used a dagger before, you're really up for a treat. It has a fine tip and a gradually curving edge, so you can really have some fun doing all sorts of expressive strokes with this brush. So let's do a couple of tests, starting with our largest brush, Versatile Round size 16. It holds a ton of water, a ton of pigment, as I mentioned, which makes it perfect for large background washes for painting sky and water. I will demonstrate this to you in a second. What makes it extra special though is precision for a brush of this size. It does a wonderful job maintaining a really nice tip. So you can do a lot of things with this one brush without switching to a smaller size. Now let me show you what I'm talking about in terms of pigment retention. Here's a synthetic sable Barocco brush on the left, which I reviewed last week, and it's pretty good, quality brush. And here is Escoda Versatile on the right, and it just goes on and on and on, and I actually ran out of paper while doing this one wash with one load, so it's very impressive, just amazing. Now let's look at perla. And if you've seen my previous reviews, you know that perlas don't hold as much water as Versatile, but in this shape and size, I'm not particularly concerned about water retention because I would use it to paint smaller areas that need a defined edge. I also like my flats for decorative work with gouache and acrylic, which doesn't require as much water retention. So the nice thing about the synthetic squirrel is that it springs back into shape, unlike real soft squirrels, so you don't have to re-wet it, which is again why I like it for my gouache work. Finally, the star of this whole show, the dagger brush, sometimes called a sword brush because it literally looks just like a sword. And this dagger has a super fine tip, which allows you to do a very fine line, but it also has this angled edge, so you can turn it on the side and do a wider stroke. It creates super expressive lines, but maybe takes a couple minutes to get used to, but you will love to paint organic shapes with this brush or do decorative work, or I know that a lot of people use it for calligraphy. It's so exciting to work with. It's also super helpful if you need to do some straight thin lines, as you can see. Because of the way the hairs are arranged, it's actually designed to help you maintain precision. And because this dagger is so long, it also absorbs any shaking you might have in your hand, so you get a clean line for as long as you want it, really. Now let's move on to real tests in real painting. So why don't we start with this dagger, because I really want to show you all the possibilities. And I'll start with decorative strokes. On my ink cat, here I'm doing some grass. It would be pretty boring with a regular round brush, but this dagger allows me to come up with some nice variation in strokes without much effort, really. So this is kind of cool. And now I'm painting feathers. Here's where you can really take advantage of the fact that it lets you do straight lines without much effort. And it still looks natural somehow. I really enjoy these organic lines. For botanical work like flower painting or leaves, this is where you can really rely on the thin point, so you can do some really detailed work like the petal veins, and here I'm using it inside a flower. Again, very natural looking organic effects. If you shake your hand a little, the result is a thin wavy stroke, so that's exactly the brush stroke I'm looking for here. And of course the fur and all the whiskers from short to long, this brush will do an amazing job. Not all daggers are as long as this perla though, so keep that in mind. The reason why I'm able to do really long strands of hair here is because this dagger is quite long. There are other daggers that you can find that are more sort of fat and will give you wider strokes, but won't be as helpful for longer lines. Okay, so this was fun. Now let's do a large Versatile. You may have seen me use these before. They also come in red Escoda set, and like I mentioned, an excellent choice for large background washes. I'm doing a landscape here, and the brush holds a ton of water while also maintaining a nice tip. So you can just use one to paint the entire landscape, start to finish, because it will really let you do all the details. Like I'm doing water here, and you can really do some precise work. I'm also pretty lazy in terms of switching my brushes, so honestly I just take advantage of that, and I often just work with one brush throughout the whole painting, so maybe that's why I love Versatile so much. It's just so flexible. My favorite thing to do though with these brushes is watercolor ink. I've been doing a lot of these lately, and by the way, let me know if you want me to do an ink tutorial. I'm happy to share my tips, but essentially it's all about loose strokes and having fun with water, and having a good large round brush with precise tip is what you need here, because with ink you really don't have time to switch brushes, and ink spreads so fast, and you want to have a brush that you can use to drop the pigment and quickly pick it up if it's not blending in the right direction. So you also want something that can do quick detailed strokes when you need it. So yeah, it's pretty awesome for ink or watercolor ink. Finally, this is my flat perla. It's a nice squirrel imitation. I personally prefer much stiffer brushes when I need a flat brush because I mostly use my flats for decorative work with gouache and acrylic. I need something that gives me a little bit more control and holds less water there. This perla did a decent job, but it's just too soft for my liking. I did use it on a landscape and it felt much better with watercolor because it's so soft. Particularly here where I needed a flat, precise edge on the mountains, it's actually quite nice. I did a bit of water with it, also decent, and a few trees in the distance. So it's okay, as you can see. I like how perlas perform in a round shape much better. If you've seen my review of the blue Escoda set, you know that larger pointed round perla really impressed me and I ended up using it for my large scale botanicals. But it does a decent job here. So in terms of my rating, and please keep in mind these ratings are purely in the context of my own style and are meant to give you just one point of view from one artist. I always encourage you to do more research on your own for balance. I will always give Versatile 5 out of 5 because I haven't found a better synthetic sable, and if I do, you will be the first to know. I'm going to give this flat perla 3.5. It's a decent synthetic squirrel imitation at a really good price if you buy it separately and not in a set, but not really suitable for most of the work I do, but it's good value for money, and if you're into flat squirrel brushes, I think it will do a good job. Finally, Perla Dagger is my life. This is so much fun. I love daggers, but I especially love long, soft daggers. And if you paint animal fur or feathers, or if you like to just experiment with ink and watercolor, go get it. It's awesome. So the black set and other Escoda sets are available in North America through Speedball Art Supplies and Jackson's Art. And you can also purchase them on Amazon directly from Escoda website. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this useful. I'll be back later this week with a full demonstration of my rose and bird painting, and next week I'll come back with some new fresh tutorials for you guys. Have a lovely week and I'll see you soon.